knowing that, hey, that was the undefeated team, that was the team that was leading the NFC. Yeah, that's a big win, obviously. But they're going to keep winning games, I'm sure. I want us to keep winning games, and we'll see how it shakes out in the end.
CC, how impressive was the Saints' 45-35 win over the Rams?
Well, just the whole game. And in watching NFL action, I'm a huge fan of football, and especially at the professional level. But, man, this was an excellent football game. This was pro football in all the rules that we have. In a perfect setting, inside the Mercedes Superdome. And these quarterbacks and the way these offenses are run, it's very, very entertaining. But what the Saints have done, and forget about Sean Payton just for a second. Dennis Allen, the defensive coordinator, the way they got started with those first 2.5 games, I mean, they got bombed by Fitzy Magic in week number 1. First pass play of the season, I think D-Jack goes for 75. That's how we're going to start our season. Mirrored how they started in 2017 defensively. Now, a lot of people tend to forget about the Minneapolis Miracle because if the Saints, they don't have that play with Stephon Diggs happen, they go to Philadelphia. And I believe, after what I saw, the Saints would have been more equipped to go against that defense in Philadelphia than Case Keenum and the Vikings were. So, man, where they've come since week number 1 defensively, they won 7 games in a row, and it's because they keep turning the ball over. Collectively, they participated. No, not the Packers. Oh, no, we don't need to participate. They went and got Eli Apple. Why? Dennis Allen, Sean Payton. They got a bunch of Ohio State guys on that team they can believe that can help them. And then now on the offensive side of the ball, we see a star emerging in Michael Thomas. He's dominated this year. Him and Adam Thielen have the best years. And Tyreek Hill, they're in Kansas City. Those 3 wide receivers have been the best in pro football. And you saw last night, if you continue to give him a lot of man-to-man, like he will break you down, and that's what ended up happening late in the 4th quarter where he scores the big touchdown to seal the game.
To your point on Michael Thomas, he caught 80% of the balls thrown to him yesterday. That lowered his percentage for the year.
Yes.
He was going into the game catching 90% of the balls thrown to him. Right there, they took advantage of what I believe to be a less than 100% Marcus Peters, which is a story to watch on the Rams side of things for a while now. Talib out, Peters has not been himself since he suffered his injury, and that sealed the football game. What the Saints have is, we know how great their quarterback is, we know how great their coach is, but they now have what I believe to be the best running back and the best wide receiver Drew Brees has ever played with. I do, with respect to Joe Horn and Marcus Colston, I don't think he's ever had a receiver playing at the level Michael Thomas is.
No.
And I know he hasn't had a running back, with respect to even Mark Ingram's Pro Bowl seasons, playing at the level Alvin Kamara is. And it was such a pleasure for me.
I think the combination of both of them,
Sure.
the totality of it, makes it really, really special.
And in today's NFL, the skill set Kamara has as a receiver is as valuable as it's ever been in this league.
Yes.
And it was such a pleasure to me to hear Troy Aikman point out that he pointed out, it was so funny on the broadcast, the stem of his route, which the only reason it was a pleasure for me to hear is a year ago, this week, I think, maybe a year and 2 weeks ago, you stood right here and talked with him about the stem of his route and about how you could see that he was already becoming a wide receiver as a running back, but there were certain things he needed to clean up a little bit.
Early last season, what I could see was he was offset. The quarterback was right behind the center in shotgun. He was offset. When he would come out, he would veer out towards the sideline, which would give the DB or the linebacker more information that he was going to break out. Now, what Sean Payton has done this year, he has him breaking inside now. So now with that read of going inside, it holds the DB inside, but he stays very fundamental and gets his stem straight where he has a 3-way go. He breaks out on the guy. That's their number 1 play on third down.
It seems to be unguardable. If you really can, if he can choose to go 3 different places and Drew Brees can place the ball the way he can, I don't know what you could possibly do against it. Whether he's against a linebacker or a corner, I don't really know how much it matters. And then you have, on this game specifically, the sequence that turned the whole football game. The fake field goal that I thought they actually picked up, but it was so close you couldn't overturn it. Saints touchdown. Missed field goal, Saints touchdown. Interception, Saints touchdown. Now it's 35-14. And like with the way the Saints are running, the Rams made it close, but it was going to take some massive New Orleans mistakes for the Rams to be able to come back down 21 in that building.
Did this prove they're the team to beat in the NFC?
Well, I just think the Rams, who they've played, they haven't had a tough schedule as Kansas City. So Kansas City, even though with one loss, we've been saying, you know something, they have a tougher test. This was a very good test. The Rams played within 7 days. They played the Green Bay Packers, got on the plane, went to New Orleans, played them. So I just would say that wherever team is playing at home, they have the advantage. Because if New Orleans can play at home, man, Drew Brees has a huge advantage. But I believe that the Rams, I believe these teams are very good. Depends on coming down the stretch. The Rams have a couple players going to be coming back. Talib will be coming back.
Right.
How much better will the Saints be? I would say right now, I would still go with the Rams as far as the best team. That was a good game yesterday, home field advantage, because these are the 2 1 and 2 seeds, all right, coming down to the wire.
And listen, Carolina's going to try to get involved in that, but right now these look like the 2 best teams in the NFC. Here's the thing that I would say. I do think home field advantage is key here. I think home field means so much more for New Orleans than for the Rams. I think if the Saints can secure the 1 seed, which they are far from securing it, but had they lost yesterday, they'd have been almost eliminated from contention for securing it. They're going to be nearly impossible to beat in that building. That's why this game was so important. We see the energy in that building. There's only a few stadiums, I feel, that give you a legitimate, tangible move the score home field advantage. The other ones I think are marginal. The Saints have one of them. You mentioned Kansas City, Seattle, Denver, Gillette. There's a handful of stadiums. The Saints have one of them. That's why this game was so critical. Breeze was great, and that run defense, it wasn't fake. The number
On
one
paper, yes.
The Saints had the number 1 run defense in football going into the game. We said Friday, do we really believe it? It's not like Gurley was held to nothing, but if you can get him to only hand the ball to Gurley 13 times, you're winning that matchup. Saints have to be thrilled about that.
Speaking of Breeze, it's time now for Put a Grade on It, sponsored by CarMax. Drew Brees had a solid performance, throwing for nearly 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. CC, put a grade on Drew Brees' day.
And just like all the other pop quizzes, exams, midterms, everything, term paper, he got a name. Oh, he's been acing the course. This is one of the best seasons I've ever seen Drew Brees. Completion percentage, I believe he's going to break that. The way he's distributing the ball and having these young players grow, Drew Brees deserves an A.
All right, you were like the teachers I had in high school that frustrated me so much. So you mean I can't get an A+? I'm not eligible for an A+? No.
Yeah, weirdo. You can stay after school. You can stay after school and wipe down the chalkboard and all that kind of stuff.
That's for the students like you that need a little extra credit. Students like myself.
Hey, teacher, want to come to the game Friday night?
Okay.
Hey, how are we doing?
Okay, fair enough. I give an A+ because he played a nearly flawless football game. A+, man.
We all have our strengths.
Some of us, 97 to 100 is supposed to be an A+. 93 to 96 an A. 99 to A-. That's the scale. Come on,
America. I work with a smart guy. Who lets me know that every day?
Coming up, is Pat Mahomes running away with the MVP? That's next on First Things First.
He's so frustrated. I didn't miss a question. How I not get an A+? I don't give out A+. What?